do yourself a favor and get in those environments, because you will find that by being in those environments, certain things will be revealed that were not revealed outside of that environment. Couldn't be revealed outside of that environment.
Because you weren't in the right place.
You just weren't in the right place with enough people. And it's something about being around a lot of people who feel the same way that you do about their future and want similar things.
It's so uplifting.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not the only one. Because if you're not careful, you think I'm the only one.
Yeah.
Why am I the only one who sees this? You'll start saying, well, am I crazy? Like, what? Why are people like, right? Because you think you're the only one.
I know.
So you have to be intentional, talking about intentionality, to get in those environments.
If you're a go-getter, faith-driven, and family-focused, and need to break through to your next level, this is the podcast for you. Your self-talk can reshape every area of your life. It's time to dream and think big. Welcome to the Self-Talk Experience with Darnell and Tracy Self. It's time to elevate, baby. Let's get into the show.
What's up, Self-Talk Experience family? We're back. And guess who's with me?
I'm back.
Yes, she is. She wasn't here last week. Where were you?
Whoa. What?
Where were you? I'm saying we got a podcast to do. We got an audience that's waiting to see your smile.
I was taking care of some details about your tour that you're on. So
so you're calling it a tour now. So it is officially a tour.
It is officially a tour.
That's what I'm talking about.
These are the things you say to yourself.
Okay.
About yourself when you don't want to get kicked off tour again. So absolutely, I'm excited for your tour. You're on tour. The tour has been amazing.
It's been amazing.
Yes.
It really has. So we're headed to California. So look forward to seeing some of you all in Southern California, and excited about another episode here of the Self-Talk Experience, where the things you say to yourself about yourself would eventually determine who and even what you attract for yourself. So excited that you're here with us today. We hope that you're growing from this. We love the comments. Continue to comment, share, like, repost. Thank you all for all of the love. And today, let's talk about intentionality. Like, I believe that most people, tell me if you'd agree.
Okay.
Most people want to grow. Like, they want to be better this year than last year. They want to have more this year than last year. They like to be in better relationships, or the relationship they're in, to have that a better relationship. Would you say?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But there's a difference between being intentional and wanting something, because sometimes you want it and maybe something happens to jolt you into making a move. But when you're intentional, you have a plan.
That's
like
right.
you're already set.
Yeah.
So you can still grow and have those things, but sometimes you may need somebody to kind of push you into it a little bit. But then that's the opposite of being intentional.
Yeah. I mean, look, spontaneity, is nothing wrong with that. Like, that's like your birthday trip, right? There's certain.
Oh my gosh, it's the best trip ever. It was so fun. It was so good. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I said to her, we're not even on an island or anything. She was like, no. It was intentional.
Yes, every detail.
Right. So that's a plan. That's something that you put in place, and you say, this is my expectations. So because of that, at this time, we're going to do this. This should end at this time. So right when that ends, we're going to do this. So there's intentionality there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, but again, spontaneity is like, hey, let's do whatever happens. And there's nothing wrong with that in certain areas of your life.
Or it could be a combination of both, because if you're still talking about my birthday trip, some of it was intentional and some of it was spontaneous.
Right.
It was a combination of both.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, that's the best.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think this is good for us to clarify this episode with prefacing the whole episode by talking about the difference between intentionality, spontaneity, and when it could be favorable and good, and sometimes it may not be. Right. For an example, if right now you're not where you want to be financially, I wouldn't just take a chance. I wouldn't recommend taking a chance and hoping that it'll be better next year. That's something that I wouldn't imagine someone would say, well, let's just be spontaneous. If it happens, we end up making enough money to pay our bills, we end up doing it. If we don't, then we won't.
Well, that's a situation where you definitely should be intentional about what's the plan, what's going to happen,
right,
and figure it out, what all the steps are. Right.
Yep.
Very detailed.
Yep. And so there's certain trips you take. You have to have a plan in place, because if you wait till you get there, then there's no availability for the excursions. There's no opportunities for you to do the tour. Right. Exactly. Right. So certain times intentionality is important. And that's what we want to talk about today, because I believe there's so many people who are excited about growing their business. I think my phone is buzzing here. And it's got to be our kids. Otherwise, it wouldn't have gone through. So sorry, guys, but it's one of our kids. Hey, what's up? You need me? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to take the call. But you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Which one of our kids was it?
Malik.
Yes. That was good. That was a good guess. So I think the piece that I really want to cover today on intentionality is the opportunity to really grow yourself to the next level. Like this month, you can do this. Like literally this month can be better than last month.
That's great, because how do you get there? How do you get to a place where you are ready to go? Because sometimes you have these intentions and you have these goals and you write them down and it's almost like when you say my foot's halfway out the door, halfway, like,
yeah.
You want to do it, but what gives you that jolt to say, okay, I'm going to be intentional?
Yeah. So one, know yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So know yourself. You know how we say if you want to love someone, you want someone to love you, you got to love yourself. Otherwise, you treat people how to love you based on how you love yourself.
But isn't that funny? Because just me asking that question in that way is kind of revealing where I am with certain situations.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to. I don't know.
Right.
For me to even ask the question.
Right. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And it reveals something. And that's okay. It's not, what do we say all the time? It's not bad.
It's just different.
It's just different.
Yeah.
It's just different. And this is why the self-talk, in my opinion, the self-talk experience is so critical. That sounds kind of crazy because we're the host of it and I'm actually bragging on the self-talk experience. But I know it's helping me out. And
I was going to say, it's okay because it's helping me out too. Just like I'm waiting right now to hear what you say.
So it starts with you.
Okay.
Right? So change starts with you. A lot of times people wait for some external thing to happen. Like you talked about the jolt. And yes, there could be some external stimulus, something that motivates you, a turning point, something that causes you to say, you know what, never again.
Well, that's what you were just talking about. You have to be intentional if there's a bill that has to be paid that didn't get paid. So now that's a pain point.
Yeah.
So that is a jolt.
Yeah.
So now you do have to be intentional.
But guess what? You still ultimately had to look within and make the decision. You had to make the decision still. So even though something caused you to say, you know what, I'm not going to be in this situation again. Like we talked about, this month can be better than last month. At some point, it's still a personal decision, though. Now, you could have your parents, you could have your friends say, you deserve more. I don't even know why you're in that relationship. You deserve more. I don't even know why you're still at that job. You deserve, but ultimately, you've got to say, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
Because you could say, you know what, I hear you, but you don't understand. I hear you, and you still don't change. So ultimately, change starts with you.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to be intentional about change, it ultimately starts with you. If it starts with someone else, if you give the credit to someone else and say, man, if it wasn't for them, I would have never done it. And yes, they could have motivated you to make the decision.
It still had to be within you to make it happen.
Exactly. And if we don't get to a place where we are willing to admit that I made the decision, it's okay. It's not pompous or arrogant. You made the decision. Then you're always going to count on someone else to keep you going. You know what I mean? Because you never got yourself going in the first place. You're like, well, I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if you wouldn't have motivated. And then you always feel like the path is based on someone else.
That's interesting because sometimes do you find that if you're in that position and it's always a certain person kind of pushing you to do things, and you never take the credit for yourself, that I'm the one who really did it.
Yeah.
When that person is out of your life, maybe the friendship isn't there anymore. Maybe the person is no longer here. You get in a rut.
Yeah.
And you feel like you can't do it without them.
Yeah.
But really, you were the one doing it all along.
Yeah, you were.
And that's tough.
I know.
To be in that place.
I know. And so there's a caveat there, which I'll get to because I'm talking about strategies and ways to get there. So first, change starts with you, but I'm going to talk about accountability. There's nothing wrong with having workout partners, accountability partners, people in your life who do motivate you, inspire you. Those things are helpful, but ultimately you still got to make exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you still have to do it.
That just makes it a little bit easier to get there.
Right.
When you have support and people checking
Absolutely.
on you, right?
So let's jump to that then. So we're talking about change.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. This is good. Because there's no particular order in terms of priority, but this is good because the thing I love about, if you go back and watch the self-talk episodes, not only do we talk about things that allow you to talk better to yourself and say better things to yourself, but then we talk about solutions and strategies on how to get there.
Right.
And that's what I love about our episodes. So let's jump to that. So
Okay.
first, it starts with you. But two, as you stated, let's say that like you've been working out like 5:30 in the morning,
Yes.
which is like a big deal for you. Let's give it up for T-Self working out at 5:30 a.m. Only once a week, but you still do it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I do it twice a week. Babe, seriously?
I'm just kidding. So, but twice a week that you go to the gym,
Yes.
right? So that's to the gym. But here's my point. You have accountability partners waiting for you. So you have two other people that you work out with.
Yes.
That accountability says, man, there's some people waiting for me there, and you're more likely to show up because you know you don't want to let them down. They're waiting for you. Sometimes they even adjust their schedule to make sure that all the three of you can be there at the same time.
Well, yeah, and I just tried to get out of it because we're going out of town, so we usually work out on Thursdays. So I just said, hey, sorry, I can't work out on Thursday. I'll be out of town. This is my only day this week. And so one of my friends said, what's today? And I said, it was Tuesday. And when do you leave? I said, Thursday. Oh, so we can work out tomorrow. And I was like, no, we don't usually work out on Wednesdays. But again, because I was pushed, I said, you know what? You're right. I will work out, because I was willing to say, hey, sorry, I won't be here.
Right.
So I'm going to do the one day. But because I had someone pushing me and encouraging me, I said, okay, I'll keep the commitment.
Right.
I'm adjusting it, but I'm keeping the commitment.
Yes, this is so good, guys, because look, accountability helps. Workout partners help.
Because I was
when
okay.
You're being intentional. Yes.
I was okay with doing it once a week.
Right.
I was okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you still had to make the decision that, you know what, I'm going to start working out at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So even though the accountability, you still had to set your alarm. Your friend didn't come over and set your alarm.
Right.
You still had to get up. Your friend didn't come over and wake you up. You still had to get in your car. So ultimately, you still had the responsibilities, is what I'm saying. No one's going to carry you to the finish line.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Number one, it still starts with you. You still have to have some responsibility. But two, yes, it's helpful when you have other people who are going along on the ride with you or there to motivate
absolutely. It really is.
Yeah.
Makes a difference.
Okay, so those are two things we talked about so far. We're talking about being intentional and causing a change in your life, in any area, right? Any area. You say, look, for an example, let's just use another one. Let's just move to number 3, and I'll talk about the example.
Okay.
So number 3 is putting yourself in an environment of other intentional people.
Mm-hmm.
Putting yourself in an environment of other intentional people, because like-minded people hang out.
Well, everybody at the gym, I was putting myself in a place where everybody at the gym was intentional, right?
That's true. Most people there, or otherwise they wouldn't be there, are saying, I want to be in better health or be in better shape.
Or they're looking for a date. I don't know. But maybe it's both. Maybe they want to work out so they can find a date.
There you go. We
That's
don't know
not
if
why
the
I'm
cause or
there,
effect.
though,
We're not sure which one.
Yeah, I'm not there for that.
Okay, you better not be.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how we got there, Self-Talk family, but this one here, see?
No, I was giving an example, putting yourself in a place where other intentional people, and that was an example.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. So putting yourself in that environment. So if it's a marriage retreat, you're putting yourself around other couples who've decided, you know what, I want to be better in this relationship.
Yes.
So that's why that environment is helpful. Some folks don't have that environment. So they're only communicating with people who are not like-minded.
Right. That's true.
And so we've talked about one of our episodes. Either those folks who they're around are going to buy into them, which it's tough when you're the only one.
Yeah.
Or they're going to end up buying into that crowd.
Yes.
That's why you shouldn't join the easy crowd, right? Join the crowd that causes you to grow. Join a crowd that causes you to stretch yourself. And if that crowd is not intentional and you want to be intentional, then you should find a crowd that's intentional about their goals,
Right.
right? People who are goal setters and they're goal getters.
And that's not easy, because if you find yourself in that situation, you may have to start from scratch and kind of get rid of most people that you're around. Now, that's not easy to do.
No, it's not.
And sometimes you know it, but you block it out.
Yep.
you pretend like it's going to be okay. It'll be fine. It'll get better. So it's hard to make that decision.
Yeah.
Again, back to being intentional.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to be intentional about who I'm around.
Yeah.
Right.
But I remember limiting my associations because sometimes it's tough to disassociate completely. But I remember when I felt like I wasn't strong enough to be around certain associations because of what my goals were. So instead of disassociating, on your words, getting rid of them, I just limited the association, right? Because I felt like, you know what? I just will say no some of the time.
And just step away. Just take a step back.
Yeah. Hey, can you hang out? No this time, but maybe next time. So instead of saying yes all the time, you say no sometimes because I just wasn't strong enough at that time because I wanted to hit high goals, but my esteem did not allow me to see myself as the person who could achieve that goal. So I started doubting myself, wondering if I could ever hit that goal. And it's only because my esteem was low. So at that point, I could not afford to be around someone often who could damage my esteem, who could cause me to think less of myself by calling me out on things that I used to do, the mistakes I used to make, and not the person that I felt like I was trying to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's so critical when you're looking to get to that next level.
Huge.
So yeah. So the last thing, anything else you want to say on that, being in the right environment? Okay, so we're talking about being intentional, and anybody can start to do these things right away. You can start making a decision. You know what? First of all, I do want to change. You got to admit that to yourself. What do you want to change? Maybe even write it down so that it's clear, right? These are the things I want to change. I want to change my financial situation. I want to change, right? Make it clear. Put it out there. Sometimes we keep it to ourselves because we're ashamed to even say it because we're doubting whether it can even happen or not.
Yeah.
So we're like, I don't even want to say it because whenever I say something, it doesn't happen. And so we're dragging our past forward, our failures forward, and they're interfering with our future, and they don't have to. Those are learning opportunities. That's why the self-talk is so important. We say, look, why this happened for you? Right? Why those relationships happen for you? Why those failed businesses happen for you? And if we're not careful, we never look at the lessons, so we continue to make the same mistakes. So make decisions yourself. Get around some folks who can hold you accountable, who can motivate you to keep you going on this path. Once you said, you know what, I want to grow, I'm going to grow, and I'm going to be intentional about my growth. And then get in an environment where other folks are moving in that same direction, right? So do yourself a favor and get in those environments, because you will find that by being in those environments, certain things will be revealed that were not revealed outside of that environment. Couldn't be revealed outside of that environment.
Because you weren't in the right place.
You just weren't in the right place with enough people. And it's something about being around a lot of people who feel the same way that you do about their future and want similar things.
It's so uplifting.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not the only one. Because if you're not careful, you think I'm the only one.
Yeah.
Why am I the only one who sees this? You'll start saying, well, am I crazy? Like, what? Why are people like, right? Because you think you're the only one.
I know.
So you have to be intentional, talking about intentionality, to get in those environments. And the last thing.
Wait, you already said it was the last thing.
Well, I never got to it because we started talking about
No,
something.
you said it was 3 things and you already said it.
Oh, well, it's a 4th thing. This last thing is really I don't even know if it's a 4th thing. I feel like it's a 4th thing, right? It's an action step. And don't call me out, is to calendar everything. Otherwise, more than likely, it won't happen. It won't happen. And
so being intentional about putting down what you need to get done.
Yeah. So here's a part about intentionality that sometimes we lie to ourselves.
Okay.
So we say, yeah, I'm going to start to work out 3 times this week. So we're intentional about saying it, but because we did not schedule it in, we did do it 2 times or 1 time, or it doesn't even be like, man, I meant to work out. Right. Something else came up because life has a way, once you set a goal, distracting you. Like right when I started to say, I'm going to be a millionaire by the age of 30 is when my car was repossessed. I'm like, now I got to do it without a car. So life has a way of putting distractions in. When you say, you know, this is going to be my year, and then if you're not careful, you hang around the wrong people. I thought you said this is going to be your year. You're already moving backwards. You don't have a car now.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why being around the right people are important, because they think the distraction took away from you, but the distraction made me hungrier.
Yeah.
The distraction made me want it even more. Right. But because of these things we talked about that I won't go over because you might call me out for saying it all over again.
I won't, babe. Everything you say is so important. It is.
So I want you guys to use those tips, If you found that they could be useful for you, they've been useful for us. And that's why we call this an experience, because these are things that we've experienced that have assisted us along the way. So we look forward to you having a better month than last month, a better year than last year, better opportunities because you're intentional about them.
Yes. And also making sure you're around the right people that can help you get there.
Yep.
That's a big deal, because you can have everything else lined up. And
Yeah.
if you're not around the right people, you get discouraged.
And sometimes you have to be intentional about that too, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You
being
have
intentional
to.
about being around the right people.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We appreciate you all. It's great to be back with my co-host here, T Self. And we'll see some of you all in California along the tour. Remember, the things you say to yourself about yourself eventually determines what and even who you attract for yourself.
And make sure you're always intentional about being intentional.
See you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Self-Talk Podcast with Darnell and Tracy Self. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. And we'll see you next time. And remember, talk good to yourself.